For all the latest Star Wars news and updates, visit hybridnetworkyt.com.
Hey guys, it's Tim coming at you with a brand new Star Wars related video for this week. Now today's topic is something that's been highly debated and talked about ever since Episode 7 first came out. Who are Rey's parents? Presumably it's somebody that we know, or someone we at least know of, due to her greater force-controlling powers and importance in the narrative. So I'm gonna go through all of the most popular options for who her parent could be, and then give my general thoughts on them at the end. So let's start off with the obvious ones, and the big one being that she's the daughter of Luke Skywalker. After all, she inherited Anakin's lightsaber, which Luke did before her, and seeing as the original trilogy was about Luke Skywalker and the prequel trilogy was about Anakin Skywalker, it would make sense that the lead of the new trilogy would be the next generation of Skywalkers. She also grew up on a desert planet like both Anakin and Luke did, and she has a great attunement with the Force naturally like both of them did as well. But she could still technically have Skywalker blood in her, but not be a Skywalker. For as Yoda said, there is another. And in this case, that would be Princess, or now General, Leia, and Han Solo being her parents. We know from Ben that, although neither of them show any particularly strong Force powers themselves, due to having Vader's bloodline, they do have the ability to produce an offspring with strong Force connections. This would explain why Chewbacca and Han took to her so quickly, and we also got to see her fly the Millennium Falcon, which would be her father's signature ship if Han was her father. But another mark towards this one comes from the now Legends timeline, where Leia and Han had 3 children, 2 boys and 1 girl. And Ben Solo's fall to the dark side in The Force Awakens is similar to how one of their sons, Jacen Solo, fell to the dark side in the novels. So with Ben taking Jacen's position, it would make sense that Rey would take the daughter, Jaina's position in the universe as well, if they were inspired by that. The next one that people have gravitated towards is Snoke being her father. I mean, he is presumably very strong considering that he is the one who taught Kylo Ren the ways of the dark side, so it would explain her strong Force connection that way, plus it would tie into the original trilogy, where it's revealed that the big bad up to that point is the hero's father. Speaking of characters from the new Disney Star Wars movies, another character who people have speculated to be Rey's parent is Jyn Erso from Rogue One. I mean, timeline-wise, she would be roughly the same age as Han, Luke, and Leia, and with the physical similarities that Daisy Ridley and Felicity Jones share, it could be seen that that casting was done deliberately in order to have the two characters look fairly similar to each other due to being related. Though, based on what happened in Rogue One, it's not exactly clear when she would have had time to have a daughter, but I thought I'd just throw it in there. But another more plausible possibility for a character she's related to would be Obi-Wan Kenobi, but instead of him being her father, he would be her grandfather just due to the timeline. It would make sense considering that Obi-Wan Kenobi is just as important to the Star Wars franchise as the Skywalker family is. He was Anakin's Jedi Master and best friend. He was the one who introduced Luke to the Force, and he's the one who held on to Anakin's lightsaber and gave it to Luke. And Obi-Wan had possession of that lightsaber longer than anyone so far as we know. Anakin only had the lightsaber after he lost the lightsaber he had in Episode 2 up until he lost that lightsaber in Episode 3. And Luke only had the lightsaber from when he got it in Episode 4 to when he lost it in Episode 5. Meanwhile, Obi-Wan had possession of it for 20 years. So it would make sense that if it was going to attune to anyone, it would attune to Obi-Wan Kenobi. And there are definitely signs of this, as Alec Guinness and Ewan McGregor had lines in voiceover during Rey's vision when she touched the lightsaber. And as a lot of people have pointed out, Episode 7 hits a lot of the same notes that Episode 4 did. But remember, the lightsaber duel in Episode 4 wasn't between the Skywalker family, it was between a Kenobi and a fallen Skywalker. So wouldn't it make sense that the grandchildren of Anakin and Obi-Wan would be the ones to have the duel with each other at the end of the first movie in the trilogy? Plus you have things like Rey being solitary on Jakku and basically being exiled there by her parents, similar to how Obi-Wan exiled himself to Tatooine and lived by himself. And then of course you have the fact that they both have British accents. And the final option, with rumors circulating that Rey is the reincarnation of the original Force user, that, like Anakin, she was an immaculate conception. She was born of the Force. But overall, while all of these have some plausibility to them, outside of probably Jyn Erso, the one I clearly lean more towards is Obi-Wan Kenobi. The others seem a bit too on the nose, and in the case of Leia and Han, it seems weird that neither of them would ever tell her that they're her parents. But it would definitely be interesting to swap the Skywalker and Kenobi dynamic that we've basically had for the entire series so far, of Obi-Wan Kenobi being the teacher and the Skywalkers being the learners. Now Luke Skywalker is the teacher, and Rey Kenobi is the learner. But those are just my thoughts on the topic, but what do you guys think? Who do you think that Rey's parent will eventually be revealed to be? Well, as always, let us know down in the comments, and if you want to hear more Star Wars related videos, feel free to click that subscribe button and the bell next to it so you can be immediately informed whenever a new video goes up. But until next time, this has been Tim from the Hybrid Network, signing out.